Hello, I'm Professor Dr. Charles H. Cranford, and I want to talk to you a little bit about my ADD, ADHD, and autism children. I have made this tape book, Right Brain Kids, and this is the lecture I give for Right Brain Kids. Who am I? Well, I'm a founder and chairman of the board, author of Right Brain Kids. I was supervisor for doctor dissertation fellows in the Philippine State University in Hong Kong, Dean Emeritus of the Faculty of Business Administration at Nong Ta Tan, and I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, University, NTT, President of Florida University of Advanced Knowledge. I have 50 years of working with the brain. I have a new book in Vietnamese. I have two new books in Vietnamese. My first one is Thinking Rich in Vietnam, and my second one is Right Brain Kids. Cranford Right Brain Kids, this has been a very popular for the last 4 years method for everyone on the purpose of improving minds of future Vietnamese and Asian generation. There's no franchise, no school. We only train parents the method to teach their children at home. I really started this not to make any money, but certainly not to lose money, but to help the parents that didn't have the money to go to the franchise schools. Right Brain for Kids this is my logo. Now, we need to rethink education. Today, as the picture shows, we graduate a student and then they immediately go to the unemployment line. We can't give our children a set of data to learn, a career to prepare for, when we don't even know what the future will bring. But we prepare them to adapt to anything, to learn anything, to solve anything. In about 20 years, they will thank us for it. Today, we'll be talking about how the brain is developing, the right brain versus left brain, the right brain education, and the Cranford Right Brain Kids method. Every child is born a billionaire. After all, they come into the world with over 100 billion brain cells. So how can we as parents help our children fully develop all these brain cells, live up to their full potential, and enjoy a rich, happy life? Up to 3 years old, the brain really is bigger than the body, not in actuality, but in importance. We feed the brain information. Be careful what you feed, as you are programming the world's largest computer. The brain, 5 to 15% is conscious brain, logic and reasoning. 85 to 95% of the brain is subconscious. That's images and emotion. If someone had electrodes hooked up to your brain, they could tell you with 100% accuracy what decisions you'll make a few seconds from now. Here's a book. It has nothing to do with my program, has nothing to do with touting, trying to get you to buy a right brain program. This individual, Daniel Pink, is a wonderful guy, and he writes about a whole new mind. And he says in the headlines of his book, why right brainers will rule the future. And he points out in this book why the right brainer children will rule the future. It's a good book. As I said, he doesn't have anything to do with my clinics and doesn't even probably know me. But it's a really good book. You can buy it from Amazon.com. It's only in English. He doesn't have it in Vietnamese. I've identified 4 key characteristics that I believe the most wealthy people possess. That's risk-taking, creativity, perseverance, and right brain thinking. Although these traits do have a genetic component, they can also be coaxed along and brought to the forefront. Numerous examples on a worldwide basis indicate that at least 3 common regarding factors of creativity are naturally demonstrated in childhood. Imagination, thinking skills. This is seen when children explore problems in new ways or create new patterns with objects or situations. Number 2, adventuresome personality. Young children as a group seem to seek new experiences and be willing to take more risks than older children, and certainly adults. Number 3, intrinsic motivation. This is when a young child enjoys tasks because of the challenge or other properties of the activities themselves. In other words, you don't have to give them a gift like candy to motivate them. They're motivated just because they want to do it. Why is this so? This leads us to the 4th factor that is seen as affecting creativity, a creative environment. Children are more likely to evidence creativity thinking and behavior when parents are openly supportive of it. Now, why is creative thinking so important? Well, if we didn't have creative children, we wouldn't have any inventions. Building the brain. A baby's brain cells begins to multiply at the astonishing rate of about 250,000 per minute. By the time a baby is born, she will have an astonishing number of brain cells, or neurons. At birth, a mind blogging 100 to 200 billion brain cells. How to wire your child's brain before it's too late. Okay, now, on the left we have a unborn baby's brain, picture of, and then at 3 months old, and then we have pictures of synopsis on the right. Here's the cell, and it's trying to link up with another cell. This is the wiring who makes us who and what we are. So this is what you have, 200 billion of these cells in your body. Okay, now when you have a child that has a behavioral disorder problem, ADD, ADHD, and autism, what happens is the cell is not wired. So as you can see in the myelin sheath, it's not completely wired. The cell is not completely developed. See the little rigid edges there? Now it's trying to, that cell's trying to link up with another cell, but until that part of the cell, the myelin sheath, is filled in, it can't. And usually that will atrophy or die off. Brain development. Critical information about brain growth showed us just how fast the early brain grows. A 28-week-old fetal brain, that's an unborn brain tissue sample, showed 124 million brain connections. That's neuron to neuron. A newborn brain tissue had 253 million connections. And an 8-month-old infant had 572 million connections. But the growth of the number of connections slowed down by the end of the first year and stabilized at about 354 million per tissue sample. The fetal brain overproduces cells, and that unless they find a connection or a job to do in the body, they die off. Understimulation and lack of interaction with outside world causes the brain death. The number of brain cells could vary as much as 25% depending on the quality and quantity of enrichment offered to the learner. Now, what this means is that you took, let's say you take an IQ test at 1 year old, 2 years old. How can you take an IQ test? You can't. So let's say that at 3 years old, they could give you somewhat of an intelligent test to see how you're doing. And they say that this child has more intelligence at 3 years old than another child. Well, if you took an IQ test at 18 years old, and at 14 years old, and at, say, 12 years old, then you could take a completed IQ test. This has no really importance on a child because it's the neurons and the cell's growth that makes the IQ. It's the learning ability to learn information that you can test the IQ on. But the person that has more cells has a probability to have a higher IQ later in life. Okay, simply what I'm saying is, if your child produces more cells and they have a larger network synapses in the brain, they will probably 99% probability have a larger IQ. So it's very important that a child produces as many cells as possible. How do you do this? Well, you must use those cells. You must actively interact with a child so that they use those cells. Read books to them, talk to them, let them play with toys, let them play with interactive toys. You must stimulate that cell, that neuron, or it will die. And when it dies, that child will not have the IQ that another child who had stimulated cells. Okay, as a parent, what does this mean to us? It means you do not know right brain training and use it. In other words, if you do not know how to right brain train your child and use it, your child will not have the step up, making of a genius, advanced brain, wiring of the brain for advanced learning and being. Being meaning creative, innovation, intuitive, and all the qualities are needed for the 21st century. The power of the right brain. By helping to develop the right brain during the early years, we can help to make learning in later life much easier for our child. One of the pathways are established for right brain functioning. A child can learn anything. This was said by Professor Mathis. Right brain development isn't only about excelling at academics. Right brain education can help a child excel in all areas of life, for instance, sports. I can see the moves of my partners in advance. This is said many times by professional athletes. They are able to know where the ball is not at now, but where it's going to be thrown and where it's going to be at 2 seconds, 5 seconds from now. So these children with right brain thinking can excel in sports. According to cerebral psychologist Dr. Yosha Skinawal, the learning ratio between the right brain and left brain is 1 to 1,000,000. Yes, that's right. The right brain learns 1,000,000 times faster. It is important to develop a child's potential as early as possible because the first 3 years of life is when a child learns the fastest. It is capable of absorbing enormous amounts of information and is extremely eager to learn. The right brain is the most important hemisphere to influence the quality of the left brain. For example, the right brain enables your child to learn subconsciously, as well as enable the brain to be able to automatically process large amounts of information at high speed, whereas the left brain is only able to process small amounts of information at low speed. In the most simple words, the experts say that humans can build a child brick by brick to achieve the so sought after right brain thinking. How? Experience brain building architecture. Brain power from neurons to networks. Left brain versus right brain. Right brain education is considered a pioneer program, and as such, we receive many questions about what it is, what it does for our children, and how to best get started. What is right brain education? Well, right brain education is about developing children to have more sensitivity, imagination, and creativity other than academic achievement alone. And education principles are based upon the sense of oneness, cooperation, love, and the fact that the right brain is open at an early stage in a child's life, which we teach knowledge to the child. Right brain education is a learning program that teaches children and adults in a whole new way. It incorporates techniques that speak to the right hemisphere of the brain and how it seems to learn. Intuitive, effortless through imaging, relaxation, music, and love. Our method encourages whole brain development by linking all intuitive right brain technology with a logical, methodical left brain. What are the benefits? Children who are taught right brain education from the earliest moments of life gain an incredible library of information that they use throughout life. The presence of information allows more connections to develop within the brain, increasing intelligent and creative thinking power. The waking of the right brain pathway allows the student to relax when learning, allowing all images to enter the memory and later to flow back to consciousness awareness at appropriate times without stress. Speed learning, rapid language acquisition, photographic memory, intuitive math and language, three-dimensional imagination, maintaining a positive attitude towards learning and high academic achievement, developing a full human being with equal amounts of IQ and EQ, intelligence and creativity at their disposal. Right brain schools, okay? I want to tell you a little bit about who are in this business and where they're at. Glenn Dogman, he's the wonderful guy. He's the pioneer of the right brain education. He's the founder of the Institute for the Achievement of the Human Potential and began pioneering the field of child brain development in 1940. Chiquita, it's a great method. They were founded in 1978. They're in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Taiwan, Australia, and the United States. Now, Dr. Chiquita is from Japan. I met him in the late 60s. I was in Japan selling Napoleon Hill franchise, and he was known as a real brain developer. So I asked to meet him. He was gracious and let me come to meet him. And at that time, he hadn't even thought about, like myself, developing a program for children. Higu and her is founded in July 1989 in Japan. They are at the moment just in Japan, Australia, and Malaysia. They're similar to Chiquita. Then we have Cranford Right Brain Kids. It was founded in 1971 by myself, and in 2013 here in Vietnam. Now, I wrote the book, Right Brain Kids. I went to a little resort town, the Lot, and I spent 5 years there writing the book. I had no connection with any other right brain school, didn't even know they had right brain schools. And I wrote this book. Where did I get the knowledge? Well, it was in my raising and how I developed my genius ability, and I read a lot. I still read a lot. So I developed this, and this is so similar to the other ones that you would think I took a training course from them, but I didn't. In fact, when I come back to Ho Chi Minh to put in, to finish the book and publish the book through First News, I was surprised when they put in their first franchise here, and I had learned a little bit about them in the meantime. I didn't want to study because I didn't want it to affect my way of thinking. So anyway, now I know quite a bit about them, and they also use a lot of Glendomans. I got a lot of information from Glendoman. Now, most schools agree with me that mom is the best teacher. Now, the immediate difference between myself and the other schools is they are franchised. They teach the kids 1 day a week. I think it's too expensive, and I think teach mom and she teach the kid every day. And I think it's very acceptable and easy for the parent to afford. So my training, I have no franchise. I write the book, have seminars to teach the mothers, and they teach the children. So for just a few $100, you can learn the knowledge from me, get my book, and you can do it at home. I used to have workshops, so this slide talks about my workshops. I'm retired now. I'm putting everything online, and I don't do workshops anymore. But I developed this Kid Genius program. Now, Kid Genius is the same thing as my right brain classes, but its own software, and it does it for you. It's really hard to teach this through workshops, and very hard for the mom to gain the ability to do this. And as I seen that, then I developed this software program called Kid Genius. It's not that expensive. You can buy 1 month of going to a franchise school. You can have a whole program for a year. So Kid Genius is the Right Brain Kids seminars put into a software program where it's active, where you and the child can both use it. It takes about 20 minutes a day to use to teach your child. Now here's my first book, Right Brain Kids. It was not the first book I printed, but it's the first book I come out with for the Right Brain Kids. First book I printed was Thinking Rich in Vietnam. Now here's the Kid Genius software. How to teach your child. Before you start teaching your child, the most important thing in right brain education is the relationship between you and your child. So it's important how you view your child. That child will grow according to how they're being viewed or image portrayed by the parent or teacher. Points on how to view your child. Look at the strong points and potential. Don't be a perfectionist. I have a hard time with this myself. I have a little 3-year-old daughter, and sometimes I try to make her perfect at everything. And you can't do that with children. Don't compare. Every child has different strengths. Don't focus on academic achievement. Learn to accept your child as he or she is. Don't expect immediate results. Now, this is really important. Actually, it's so important that I've developed a brainwave machine. And through some of my other clips, I talk about this machine. Now, the beta, alpha, theta, and delta, these are the brain waves that are so important for your child. 7 steps to learning right brain education. Alpha, relaxation. Eye exercises. Photo eye play. Mental imaging. Memory linking. Observation training. Speed reading. Photographic memory. Now, I will go through slowly these 7 steps with you. My method, the aim of this training is to allow visualization by allowing the mind to develop clear mental images. Open the subconscious of the right brain, creativity, intuitive, and memory. Alpha music. The purpose of alpha music is to get the child in a state of relaxing mode. The right brain functions best at the alpha wave. Semi-conscious in a deep, relaxed state. The energy ball exercise. This energy ball exercise is mentally prepared your child before you teach your child. The purpose of energy ball is to get your child to focus their mental energy. Eye exercise. It's an exercise to train the eye muscles to scan up and down, left and right, in all sorts of direction. This is to prepare your child for photographic memory exercises and speed reading. Image training. This training is meant to teach your child at any age to learn how to be imaginative or creative different images. This training is the foundation of all the other image exercises. If your child is less than 3 years old, you can guide your child to do this. And if your child is 3 years and above, they can image themselves. Flashcards. This is to activate the right brain. And the cards need to be flashed at high speed. Very important because it gives your child instant memory. Now, this is one reason I developed Kid Genius. I have never met a non-professional mother that could flash the cards fast enough that it really would affect the right brain. Normally, every child will learn with his left brain, and when you don't flash them fast enough, you're not learning with your right brain. But when the information is given at a high speed, the right brain's memory is activated and it will grow. The right brain and left brain will be connected. Okay, so I'm saying I used to sell flashcards. I'm out of the flashcard business. The reason I went out of not selling the flashcards was not because of profit. It's very profitable. It's because it did no good. The mother spent a lot of time, but it did not any good for the child. A little bit of good. But Kid Genius, the software I developed, can do it at 1/25th of a second. Usually a mom can't do it less than 1 second or 2 seconds. Mandela. These exercises are used as part of photographic memory exercises. It is to help your child to remember the colors on the Mandela pictures when the pictures are flashed within 5 seconds. Linking story. The purpose is to train the child to memorize a group of pictures in sequence. In this exercise, the story used to link the image does not make sense and has no logic. Image eye play is a form of training where your child is trained in the brain's ability to capture and hold an image in your mind exactly as it is in the environment. You need a lot of practice to do this. Again, Kid Genius does all this for you. You just push the button. Actually, my little girl, 3 years old, she can take Kid Genius and she can do most of it herself. So it's very friendly to use for children. When you start the child with Kid Genius, you need to have a parent to show the child how to do. Okay? Now, you must interview intervene early enough to make a difference in your child's life. So I want you to take charge today. You and your child will never regret it. Planting and nurturing the seeds of creativity. Parents don't know how to create their children's creative thinking. Children focus and meditation class. Cranford brainwave and yoga training class. Well, I used to give this. This is one class your child needs the most. I never offered this outside America. And I did this for a while, and my age and my health had just not let me continue to do all the classes I would like to hold. If you would like to contact us, here's the way to contact us. My partner, Dr. Holm, she has all the information. We have an office here in Ho Chi Minh that can give you more information on what I'm doing and how you can contact us. Question and answers, well, through my lectures, I used to answer it personally, but you can write me, and I will pick out the questions I would like to answer. I don't have time to answer them all, and I will put them on our website.